Well, I guess the first thing I'd say about Joe's personality is that in the 3 years I've now lived in Huntsville, I haven't made a better friend.
I met Joe in December of 2003, and we've become fast friends ever since then.
I kind of just showed up on his doorstep one day and told him, "Hey, Joe, I need your help. We're starting a new company, and I would like your advice on, how to get that started and how to get it up and going." I knew he had been very successful.
He knows how to bring the right team together. Joe Ritch brings together a team that's truly second to none.
You don't have to know him very long to realize that he's one of the smartest guys you'll ever run across. Very sharp. Knows what he's doing, knows how the world works.
He doesn't go off half-cocked. He does his research, and at the end of the day, good things come out of his efforts.
And it's funny, he kind of took me in. I was like a lost dog, a lost puppy, just showed up on his doorstep, and he graciously took me in, and man, we're so grateful for him doing that.
It all comes down to what's right, and what's right is where you live is where you want to be prosperous. You want it to be growing, you want everybody to be happy, you want everybody to have the good things in life, and the only way to do that is to continue giving it all you got, and that's what Joe Ritch does.
Joe is a model organizer. He can get communities of varying interests and locations to work together. Joe is a model businessman, he is a model leader, and if you look up the word model, it's a small replica of the real thing.
Joe has just a wicked sense of humor, a bit dry, and you don't necessarily always know he's joking right at first glance, but then when you think about it a little bit, you realize that what he just said was outrageously funny.
He's just got a wit about him that, it's instantaneous, and so, I never know, or you would never know what it would be that make him, that sets him off.
Oh, he's got a sense of humor. It's a dry one, though, by far dry. Because sometimes, when he does something, you kind of go, "What did he just say?" And I'll go, "Oh, I get it.
I remember one time we were in a group and he introduced me to another friend of his, and as one of his better friends, and I said, "Joe, how can that be? How can you have a good friend, somebody like you?" I was gigging him a little bit, and he says, "Well, we don't hardly ever see one another," which I thought was pretty clever.
I'm a masochist, so his personality is grating. It's not to be emulated by anybody, and in fact, I think I'm the only friend he has.
When Joe's on a trip, you go with Joe, you follow Joe, and you do what Joe wants.
Joe's one who's always up for dinner out with friends. And he has an unusual custom of putting ice cubes in his white wine, but he likes it, and, be my guest. It's a little unusual.
And because of Joe, I got my credit card identity stolen. That's another story for another time.
I'm not sure that people know how much he loves dogs, specifically his two. And he treats them like humans, which is the way I treated mine. And it's not just him, it's his wife Lana. They love their doggies, and those doggies take second to nothing. I was on a trip with Joe, and I took him to go to a Citadel game, sit in my skybox that I'm part owner of. And we took a van, and we had to take the van because Joe was bringing us two dogs, so it goes back to my dog story. And we're coming home. And Joe didn't know about this. Joe has trouble in the back of a van with maybe a little car sickness or whatever. So he takes some Dramamine, and he does not know that Dramamine puts him to sleep. So we hadn't even been in this 10-hour trip, and Joe took his Dramamine, and he fell asleep in the back on the floor with his two little dogs the entire trip.
There are people who take great pride in getting things done, and others who just really enjoy the stage. That's why we have actors and singers and dancers, right? We're not all alike. And folks like Joe and I and others of our friends are people who, rather focus on getting stuff done and don't necessarily need to be up in the lights.
My wife and I have learned a lot from him, and I think the reverse is true also. Joe does more good for this community, for the Tennessee Valley, by accident than most people do on purpose. And he does it under the radar, and he doesn't like to take credit?
He's been a godsend to my family and I. He's, like I said, he doesn't bring attention to himself at all. You would never know he was involved as much as he is in a lot of different things.
His heart is outside his body. I mean, it truly is. And he cares. And you know what's powerful about Joe is he doesn't really want this, what we're doing right now. He doesn't want it. And you know what? It's too bad. I'm glad we're doing it because it's the kind of guy we need to do it for and kind of keep feeding him a little bit because we don't want Joe to go away. We want Joe to stay around.